when leaving is the bravest thing you'll ever do? What if I told you that the thing we've been calling failure might actually be freedom? Welcome to Soft Girl Era, the sacred space where strong Black women unlearn survival, rediscover softness, and reclaim the joy, rest, and freedom they deserve without guilt, without apology, and without explanation. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French, and I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft and loving every second of it. Today, I had the profound honor of sitting down with Desiree Ambrose, a woman who is rewriting the narrative around divorce, single parenting, and what it truly means to choose peace over pretense. Desiree is doing the sacred work of helping custodial parents, especially Black mothers, navigate one of life's most disruptive transitions with grace, support, and unapologetic self preservation. She's making the world better by refusing to let anyone carry the weight of stigma when they're already carrying the weight of survival. She sees the invisible labor. She honors the courage it takes to walk away. She's building bridges where society has built walls. And what she shared with me, what we unpacked together, is something every woman in this room, every woman listening, needs to hear. Because here's the truth we don't say out loud enough: divorce, especially for Black women, is not just a legal process, it's a spiritual reckoning. It's an emotional earthquake. It's a complete dismantling of the life you thought you were building. And it's happening at rates that should make us all pause, lean in closer, and ask with real curiosity and real compassion, why? In 2018, there were 31 divorces per 1,000 Black Americans. 31. Let that number sit with you for a moment. Compare that to just over 15 per 1,000 among white Americans. That's double. Black women marry later, on average at age 31. They have lower marriage rates overall, just 17.3 marriages per 1,000 people. And yet, when they do marry, they experience higher dissolution rates. They also make up a disproportionately large share of never married adults across every age group. So let's sit with that for a moment. Black women are marrying less, marrying later, and divorcing more. And instead of asking what systemic pressures, what cultural expectations, what impossible standards, what generational trauma, what economic instability, what lack of support systems are creating this reality, we shame them. We call it personal failure. We whisper about broken homes and fractured families. We tell them to stay, to pray harder, to hold it together for the kids. We tell them that leaving means they didn't try hard enough, that walking away means they're weak, that choosing themselves is selfish. But Desiree Ambrose is here to disrupt that narrative entirely. She told me something that landed in my chest like a stone dropping into still water, sending ripples outward that I'm still feeling. She said the stigma around divorce, especially for Black professionals and parents, often ignores the reality that staying in a high conflict marriage can be more damaging than leaving. Society frames divorce as a personal failure or a breakdown of family values. But the truth is, sometimes it's an act of courage and self preservation. Let that breathe for a second. Sometimes leaving is the most courageous thing you will ever do. We live in a world that taught us survival, that taught us to hold on even when holding on is killing us, that taught us strength means endurance, no matter the cost. That taught us to smile through the pain, to keep our heads up, to never let them see us sweat. But what if strength actually looks like walking away? What if protecting your peace, your mental health, your children's well being, your very soul means choosing the door marked exit? For Black women, this choice comes with an extra layer of pressure that most people will never understand. There's the cultural expectation to be the backbone, the glue, the one who holds it all together no matter what's falling apart. There's the church telling you to submit, to forgive 70 times 7, to endure, to be long suffering. There's the community watching, whispering, judging, measuring your worth by your ability to keep a man, keep a home, keep up appearances. And there's the very real fear of what comes next, because the system, the one that's supposed to support you, the one that's supposed to catch you when you fall, often fails to recognize or support custodial parents, especially mothers who are left carrying both the emotional and logistical weight when a co parent disengages. Desiree made it crystal clear. We treat absentee parenting as a private issue, as something that happens behind closed doors, rather than acknowledging its community impact. And that leaves present parents isolated, unsupported, invisible. The real failure isn't divorce itself, it's our collective unwillingness to address these systemic gaps with empathy and practical solutions. It's our refusal to see the labor. It's our silence when we should be speaking up. It's our judgment when we should be offering help. So let's talk about what that looks like in real life. Let's get specific. Let's get honest. Imagine you're a Black mother. You've been married for years. You've tried everything. You've prayed until your knees hurt. You've gone to counseling, sometimes alone because he wouldn't come. You've read the books, listened to the sermons, followed all the advice. You've done everything you were told to do. But the conflict is constant. The arguments happen in front of the kids now. The emotional absence is suffocating. You're living with someone who feels like a stranger. Your children are watching you shrink, watching you disappear a little more each day. And one day you realize with a clarity that's both terrifying and liberating, staying is no longer an option. So you leave. And suddenly you're not just navigating the legal system, the custody agreements, the financial strain, the division of assets, the lawyer fees you can barely afford. You're navigating the judgment, the questions that feel like accusations. Why couldn't you make it work? What did you do wrong? Did you try hard enough? The well meaning advice that feels like daggers. Maybe you should give him another chance. Think about the children. Marriage is hard work. You're doing it alone because the co parent who was barely present during the marriage is even less present now. And the institutions that could help, the schools, the community organizations, the support systems, the very structures that claim to care about families, they don't see you. They don't see the invisible labor you're doing every single day. They don't see you waking up at 5 in the morning to pack lunches and review homework before heading to a job where you have to pretend everything is fine. They don't see you crying in the car during your lunch break. They don't see you trying to explain to your children why their other parent isn't showing up. Again, why, while protecting that parent's image because you know your kids need to believe in love. Desiree wants us to see that. She wants us to stop treating divorce like a scarlet letter and start treating it like what it often is, a necessary step toward healing for both adults and children, especially when conflict or emotional absence becomes toxic. Prioritizing peace over pretense can actually create healthier environments for kids. Think about that. Healthier environments, not despite the divorce, because of it. We've been sold a lie that intact families are always better, no matter what's happening behind closed doors. But research and lived experience tell us otherwise. Children who grow up in high conflict homes where parents are constantly fighting, where emotional neglect is the norm, where tension hangs in the air like smoke you can't see, but you can definitely feel, those children suffer. They internalize that dysfunction. They learn that love looks like suffering. They learn that relationships mean tolerating disrespect. They carry that blueprint into their own relationships, into their own marriages, into their own parenting. The cycle continues, but children who see a parent choose peace, who see a parent set boundaries, who see a parent prioritize their own well being and model self respect, who see a parent say no uh, to what's hurting them and yes to what's healing them, those children learn something radically different. They learn that it's okay to walk away from what hurts you. They learn that love should feel safe, not scary. They learn that their worth is not tied to enduring the unendurable. They learn that peace is not just possible, it's a priority. They learn that softness is strength. They learn that choosing yourself is not selfish, it's sacred. That's the lesson Desiree wants us to take away. Divorce is not always a sign of failure. Sometimes it's a necessary step toward healing. Sometimes it's the only way forward. Sometimes it's the most loving thing you can do for yourself and your children. But here's where it gets even more critical, even more urgent. Because even when a parent makes that brave choice, even when they choose peace, even when they walk through the fire of judgment and come out the other side, they're still left holding the bag. Custodial parents, especially in Black communities where marriage rates are lower but divorce rates are higher, need more systemic support. The emotional labor of single parenting is often invisible to the institutions that could help ease the burden. Desiree talked about this with such clarity, such precision, such passion. She said we need to stop treating single parents like they're doing something wrong and start recognizing that they're doing something extraordinary. They're showing up every single day. They're managing the logistics, the emotions, the finances, the homework, the doctor's appointments, the parent teacher conferences, the birthday parties, the scraped knees, the broken hearts, the questions they don't always have answers for. And they're doing it without the co parent who was supposed to be there, without the partner who promised to share the load, without the support system they thought they'd have. And here's the kicker: society still expects them to do it all with a smile, to not complain, to not ask for help, to not show weakness, to be strong, to be the superwoman we've been trained to be since we were little girls, watching our mothers and grandmothers carry the world on their shoulders without breaking a sweat, or at least without letting anyone see them break. But we're done with that script. We're done with the superwoman cape. We're done pretending that strength means suffering in silence. We're done shrinking ourselves to make other people comfortable. We're done apologizing for needing rest, for setting boundaries, for choosing peace. Desiree reminded me that community matters, that isolation compounds stress during major life transitions like divorce, that building networks of support among peers can make all the difference in navigating these challenges with resilience, with grace, with hope. So let's talk about what that support could actually look like. What if schools had dedicated resources for single parents? What if there were support groups built into the school system where custodial parents could connect, share strategies, offer each other rides and meals and understanding? What if workplaces offered flexible schedules that acknowledge the reality of solo parenting? What if companies created policies that said, we see you, we value you, we're going to make this easier, not harder? What if faith communities stopped shaming divorce and started supporting the people going through it? What if churches offered childcare during divorce support groups? What if pastors preached about the courage it takes to leave as much as they preach about the commitment it takes to stay? What if we created peer networks, safe spaces where custodial parents could share their stories, their struggles, their strategies without judgment, without shame, without having to perform strength they don't feel? What if we stopped asking, why did you leave? And started asking, what do you need? How can I help? What would make this easier? What would bring you peace? Because here's what Desiree knows, and what every woman in this room, every woman listening needs to hear, needs to feel deep in their bones. You are not failing. You are not broken. You are not less than. You are not damaged goods. You are surviving. You are healing. You are choosing yourself. Chit. And that is not selfish. That is sacred. That is holy. That is the work. This is your soft girl era. This is the moment where you stop apologizing for taking up space, where you stop explaining why you need rest, where you stop justifying your boundaries, where you stop carrying the weight of other people's expectations, other people's opinions, other people's disappointment. You are allowed to be soft in a world that taught you survival. You are allowed to say no without guilt. You are allowed to set boundaries without apology. You are allowed to rest without explanation. You are allowed to embrace healing, wholeness, softness, and emotional honesty. You are allowed to choose peace over pretense. You are allowed to walk away from what's breaking you. And if leaving a marriage that was suffocating your spirit, dimming your light, stealing your joy is part of that journey, then you are allowed to do that too. Desiree Ambrose is giving us permission. She's giving us language. She's giving us a roadmap. And she's reminding us that the real failure isn't divorce. The real failure is staying in a situation that's killing your spirit because you're afraid of what people will say. So here's my challenge to you, not tomorrow, not next week, right now in this moment. If you're in a high conflict marriage, if you're carrying the weight alone, if you're pretending everything is fine when it's not, if you're shrinking yourself to keep the peace, if you're teaching your children that love looks like suffering, I want you to ask yourself one question, just one. What would choosing peace actually look like for me? Not what would make everyone else comfortable, not what would keep the family intact on paper, not what would stop the whispers or satisfy the church mothers or make your mama proud, but what would actually, truly, deeply bring you peace. And if the answer is leaving, if the answer is walking away, if the answer is choosing yourself for the first time in years or maybe ever, then I want you to know something. I need you to hear this. You are not alone. You are not failing. You are not giving up. You are choosing life. You are choosing healing. You are choosing yourself. You are choosing your children's future. You are choosing to break the cycle. You are choosing to model what love should actually look like. And that right there is the bravest thing you will ever do. So, I'm asking you today, stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the right time. Stop waiting for it to get easier. It won't. But you will get stronger. You will get clearer. You will get freer. Choose peace. Choose softness. Choose you. And watch how everything changes. Watch how your children start to breathe easier. Watch how you start to sleep through the night. Watch how joy finds its way back into your life, slowly at first, then all at once. This is your invitation. This is your permission slip. This is your moment. Now go. Go be soft. Go be free. Go be whole. Go be the woman you've been too afraid to become. Go show your children what courage looks like. Go build the life you deserve, not the one everyone else expects. The world is waiting for the real you, and she is magnificent.